Ladies and gentlemen, Moshiach, my name is Yosef, and this is Rafi Farber, my guest, my main man here in Katsarin.
I'm not a Chabadnik, just to clarify, he takes over that introduction.
Alright, yes. To each his own, to each king, long live the king. L'chaim, and as Rafi was saying, finally the whole world is coming to this pinnacle moment.
It's moving.
I must say that I want to start first of all, like the differentiate between Black Lives Matter and police brutality, because I think that the fact that the BLM has so much backing is because many white people have experienced police brutality, and it doesn't necessarily mean choking them to death, but financially choking them to death. Here in Israel, it's very common for people, for example, to say that they got $10,000, it's 10,000 shekel worth of tickets in a month. Mm-hmm. And they're not criminals. They're just regular people going to work, coming back, and a cop's like, oh, your expired license, or you have a tail light that's busted.
Or you've been driving in the left lane for more than 40 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So that's called harassment. That's called pirating. That's called...
it's just part of life. You just got to pay the ticket and move on.
Yeah, you have to pay the ticket, but slowly it makes you feel helpless. So when you hear that they're burning cop cars, you're like, damn, I need to get in on this shit. I mean, I think that the reason why this whole agenda has been so successful is because it's resonating with a lot of people. Now, no one's here to say that this is a good idea, but
getting rid of cops?
No.
What?
No, let's say all the hashlachot put together, not all of it is positive, like burning down random houses or random businesses.
No, the destruction of innocent people's property it's never a good thing. I mean, there's only one level of separation from somebody's property, their own body, and so you get mass murder eventually. But
yeah, so that's not something. But the reason why people are kind of sort of giving this a backing, even though there's a lot of things that are wrong with it, is because I think police brutality is something that resonates with almost everyone in the world. I mean, from my research, I don't remember in the last 2,000 years a system of justice or a police force in the world that was respected and totally embraced by the public. No. There has never been such a thing. For the last 2,000 years, this has been boiling over.
But it shouldn't be. I mean, what you should respect is your own private security company. Nobody's going to respect the police except for, the pontificating. What do you call when you're like, what did the Congress people do in that picture on Drudge Report the other day? They were kneeling in the
showing.
It's called sanctimonious. Like they're just being sanctimonious and pious and fake tzidkus or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, so that's also another symptom of whatever. But I'm coming back to, it's like Jordan Peterson says, there are laws in the world that you can try and bend them so much before they snap back. And he said, unfortunately or fortunately, I've never seen anyone in the world get away with things that he does. There's consequences. The smartest people that were able to assassinate people from a rooftop with clean guns, they burped something. They said something sometime, and there was hashlachot. There was consequences. And if the consequences weren't seen in that generation, they're seen in the kids' generation or next generation. So the world has its own rules, and those rules are stronger than religion. They're stronger than any social construct that we have today. And I think that the government's getting its final kick in the nuts.
This is definitely the end. This is definitely the last stage of whatever period of history we've been in since the end of World War II. This is the end of it.
Yeah, and I think there was a wise man here in Katsarin was telling me, you're trying to go to be mayor, you're trying to get into the politics. This is a building that the bottom floor has been detonated, and the people on the 90th floor still think that everything's okay. They just don't understand that the situation is hopeless. They just don't get it yet. They're still partying and passing the cocktails around.
It's not hopeless in Yush, but
no, not us, but the government system, the Ma'arechet is over. It's just a ticking time bomb. It's a question of it's a matter of time before this whole thing is official.
I just want to inject something positive here. One of the reasons that I came to Israel 10 years ago is because I saw something like a collapse of society coming inevitably, just because of the way people behave and the way they spend money and the way that everyone's in debt. the decline of a society. And if you were to imagine living in the United States and society really did start breaking down, you have these people rioting in the streets and going into suburbia and just like ripping people out of their houses and breaking doors down with like machetes or whatever. That's a scary thought, and it's possible. I mean, if they defund the police and they take police departments out of cities, there's just going to be more crime. That's what's going to happen. But like, if you imagine the worst case scenario in America as a Jew, it's terrifying. But try to imagine the worst case scenario here of like the police breaking down. You're like, oh, I don't know if that would be so bad here. I mean, if the police broke down here,
I think that someone that like a Jew has a lot more to live for, other than materialism.
Yeah.
So if his TV is broken, he's not going to go kill his neighbor for another TV.
Right.
He also has a moral structure. So there's a lot of safety valves in this Jewish psyche, in the Jewish DNA, whether they're religious or not. Yeah. Whereas in America, I think that I'm not sure how bad it could get, but when people are desperate and the only thing they live for is physicality, then they'll kill much quicker and they'll kill without a conscience. Yeah. Much quicker, but I mean, this is worst case scenario that we're talking about.
Yeah. The worst. I don't know if the worst case scenario is going to happen in America. I don't know. Maybe, but it's very terrifying if it does. But here, I can imagine the police breaking down, and it wouldn't really. It would make me maybe a little bit nervous, but like I'd be like, well, it sounds interesting. Maybe something good can come of that.
Right.
You would have a Havamim at least here that you don't have to freak out.
Yeah. The police right now, 80% of what they're doing is harassing civilians and extortion for the government. That's basically most of their job here in Israel. Yeah. So they're a cash cow for the government. That's what they are.
Just try to stay away from them. Don't call them when you don't absolutely.
Yeah, and run away from them because they have so many laws protecting your life that you can probably, if you're on a bike or walking, you definitely can walk away from them. They can't do anything to you.
Just like if it's not an absolutely life-threatening situation, just don't call the police. Unless you really, really need to.
So moving on, I think that one of also the pluses, and this is something that Ben Shapiro and many other people mention, is that what's good about this civil unrest is that it exposes the coronavirus as a hoax, and it fast track because.
I don't want to call it a hoax. It's not like they made it up. It exists.
It exists, but
it's not any different from any other stupid pandemic that's ever happened.
The reaction is a hoax, and the laws that are put in place are a hoax compared to the severity. In other words, the overacting, the overreaction, and the careless and contradictory carelessness of the way the government has been enforcing this. And I'm actually happy that here in Katzrin, I want to point this out because I've heard that even if you go to Tveria, the situation is much more tight, and people are, there's Karens all over the place.
Karen
is Karen is basically a new meme of the lady that, like, she uses the rules and the laws to extort her authoritarianism on everyone. Like, she'll go to the beach an hour and a half away from her house, bring her entire family, and then start filming other people there and telling them that they should social distance and harassing them. Or she'll stick a branch out and start hitting everyone around her and telling them that they're too close to her. So those are the people that they're like the NPC meme, if you're familiar with.
I don't know memes.
NPC is non-player character in the game. It's the guy that just walks around.
Oh, right, the red shirt in Star Trek.
Or the guy that just keeps on repeating himself, and he's just part of the system, but he doesn't think for himself. Right. So there's a lot of memes that like so. So guys, research Karen, research NPC. You'll see a lot of funny memes or videos, compilations of this.
Well, then I like.
So in Katzrin, I was just getting back to in Katzrin, and the outer places. The private stores don't give a shit about the masks. They don't give a shit about anything. So you can actually go into any private store in Katzrin, whether it's a small grocery shop or a barber shop or whatever, and most of them will not ask you to wear a mask. They're not wearing a mask. I even went into a government office here today, and they kind of had to like check my fever, but they didn't care if I wasn't wearing a mask. They weren't wearing a mask. They don't give a shit.
That's one thing about this place.
This is what I love about the farther places where the government, even if they want to have control, they can't. Yeah. The control doesn't reach these parts.
No, it can sporadically, but there's no like grip.
There's no grip, exactly. So the police don't wear the masks. They're like, fuck this, and they, the whole system is the brainwash is not strong enough here. So
sometimes you don't know why you end up in certain places, but you just do. But
and you bless God for the.
It's clear that I ended up in the right place. I couldn't handle any of these mask-wearing lockdown idiots.
My wife went to Tveria, and she was like, "Oh my God, you don't know what's happening in the world. It is so bad. It is comparatively and I mean,
But no, but it's not so bad.
And in the urban areas,
just wait until the monetary system collapses and these bailouts don't buy anything. Then it's going to get bad. Like, we're really going to have to reach down into our nature as the Jewish nation to like figure out how the hell to get out of this." While they're going to eat each other alive. I mean, that's what I'm seeing happening. It's going to get much worse.
I couldn't agree with you more, Rafi. But I'm saying, even right now, the more urban areas are already rioting. They're
in Israel?
No, in the whole world. In Israel, there are some places that are starting to.
Yeah, but here it would just be people yelling at each other.
No.
Hitting each other.
Did you see the video with the horses in the streets?
Yeah, there'll be horses, but I don't think there's going to be that much violence. There'll be, there'll be some whacks with, canes or whatever, but there's not going to be, shooting or mass murders in Israel. It's not, I don't see that happening. People are angry at each other, but they don't want to kill each other.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's like getting into a family fight. Maybe sometimes you really hate them and you want to, punch them in the face, but, you don't want to kill your family. It's just not something that comes to you.
All right, one second. Let me pause it. All right. So, my friends, now I want to talk about the Sanhedrin a little bit, and the Sanhedrin initiative is Sanhedrin services.
Okay, you'll have to explain this to me a little bit.
Okay, so the idea is we've been talking, me and my friends at MN Global, mnglobal.org. You can check it out. We'll have links at the bottom of this video, hopefully. We've been working on the Sanhedrin initiative for a long time because we believe that this will be the first time the world can truly experience real justice, something that everyone will have positive feedback, positive vibes about. People will feel safe, comfortable, secure. It's going to be a feeling that no one has ever had. You have an issue, you're like, yeah, we have where to go. Today, when you have a problem, do you think to go to court? No,
I think to stay out of it.
Exactly. You try to settle with your friend, and if he's too much of an asshole, you just say, you know what, forget it. He won.
Unless it's a lot of money.
Then what do?
You gotta go to court if you need to.
You have to go to court, right? And then you're scared because you know that the system might be rigged and there might be some law. Let me give you an example of a system that doesn't work properly. A husband is beating his wife, but they smoke a little hashish in the house. And the wife's scared to call the cops because if she calls the cops to tell them that she's getting her teeth knocked out, they're going to arrest both of them because they are in possession of weed. That's an example of a failed system. So the Sanhedrin are going to completely look at life in a completely different way. And they're going to base their laws and their system on every single culture that exists in the world. That's going to be imagine the entire world is involved in sharing data, like the coding community, where they all share certain code together, whether it's 3D printing a gun in your basement or whatever it is. So they share code and it's perfected by the entire world inputting information. The Sanhedrin were 70 sages that were fluent in 70 languages, were familiar with every kind of worship in the world, whether idolatry or Judaism. This means 70 languages is also not only languages of tongue, but imagine languages of society, understanding, every kind of worship. They were understanding the psychic. These were the psychologists. This is the concept of understanding a person, not judging him. You can't judge a Chinese person based on Japanese custom. Japanese custom is very different than Chinese custom. You have to understand each culture. You can't judge one culture.
Are you saying it's a Jewish what do you say? A Jewish something that you want. What's the word? I'm losing my.
A dream.
A Jewish objective.
Yeah.
Or a vision to judge all of humanity for them to come to us for judgment. That seems a little lofty.
It's lofty, but then again, on the other hand, I think
How are we going to run everyone's society? They're not going to have their own courts? That seems...
No. They're going to have everything. They're going to have all their systems.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of, for example, governments exporting all their convicts to America to be part of the great jail system there, we are going to tell governments and countries and people, look, we sort out your issues. We turn your garbage into gold. We'll turn your conflicts into. We're going to turn your maror into honey. We are going to show. We're going to completely change the dynamic of everything you understand about a conflict. We're going to find the reasons why each of you have to understand the other side. We're going to bring out a solution like you've never seen before. And that's because we have thought so hard and so deep into the psychic of the human body and the human soul, the human person, the human energy.
Yeah, but I don't see anyone who can be on this court. I mean, there aren't many Rebbeim that I even have a little bit of respect for.
The court, I think, is missing the point, because I think that where all the action is going to be is in the advisory group. There's the Shoftim and the Yoetzim.
Okay.
And the clique here is the advisory group. The advisory group is like the capitalism within the court system. That's where all the energy really thrives. So I think that maybe even 80% of all conflicts will never really make it into the official Sanhedrin, but it will stay on the Yoetzim's ballpark.
Well, I still don't understand how this is at all happening.
Do you want me to give you an example?
What the plan? Like, what are you even talking about?
Right. So, first of all, we need to pick a character that will need the Sanhedrin services. So, do you want to start with someone like Trump or Xi Jinping, or do you want to start with a simple common folk?
Hold on. Before we get to that, like, keep that thought in mind. But if you're talking about how realistically the Jewish people can retake their seat as the head advisors of the world, Mamlechas Kohanim Goy Kadosh, or however you want to say it, I'm starting to see how it's possible now, how it could happen. Meaning, once you have a collapse in the dollar, and that's coming, then you'll have anarchy all over the world, and
that'll be an opportunity for a new system.
Cities just like eating themselves. But here, I don't think it'll be that bad. I think we will figure. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. It's not going to be everyone killing each other here in Israel. But after all the dust clears and we see who survived this, the world can look at us and say, "Wow, Israel seems okay." And
let's give them a shot.
And maybe we should ask them for some advice on how to start this over again. And hopefully the wise ones among us will rise to the top here, and then voluntarily the nations will come to us for advice, and we'll won't order them around, but like, oh, you want to know what we think? Here's what I think you should do. And then we could be like the unofficial Sanhedrin of the world, but no coercion. It's not like we're in charge of anything. It's just
right? No, we're not. This is completely for the world's benefit. This is not a. This part of the story is not a scheme for Jews to take over the world. This is not a scheme to make money or make the Jewish people rich. This is a public service. This is straight up good deeds, kindness, and this is just doing humanity a favor, because for way too long we've figured out a way to stay out of trouble, not kill and not steal, stick to our morals and our ethics through the fire, through the blood, and we've never really picked up arms and gone out there, blazing, killing and raping and pillaging. We've never done that. We have a very...
Not as a people, but there are many evil individuals.
Yes, we have evil individuals just like all of society. Yeah. We have bad apples. But the bad apples here, like a typical bad apple in Judaism might exploit Judaism and use it in a messed up way, but he'll think that he's the biggest rabbi, or he'll think that he's the biggest scholar, and he'll try to push everyone around by him being the most righteous person. So even a fake righteous person, there's a limit to how much bad you can do by being a fake righteous person. In other words, that looking up in Judaism, and because the psychopaths and the freaks, they're always trying to grab the top of the pyramid. And the top of the pyramid in Judaism is is being a righteous person. So you might be a very bad righteous person. So worst case scenario, you don't let certain people into your Chabad house, but you have a Chabad house and you're giving out free food and you're giving charity and you give the most charity and you're very aggressive in the way you help people. But the whole playing field is in a healthy place. Whereas in the black community in America, for example, if you want to be the top dog, it means that you kill people and you shoot them in the head and you're a drug dealer.
I'm uncomfortable saying the black community.
No, I'm not generalizing, but they are one community that looks up to or promotes. They have their rappers that are like, yo, I'm selling that coke. I got all the girls.
I don't plan to know anything really about black.
Okay,
culture.
I'm just saying that in other. Okay, let's skip the details. But the point is that in other cultures. And throughout history, we know that Napoleon or big killers were looked up as like heroes. And in Judaism, you don't really see that so much. And even when you have a leader that happened to kill a lot of people, he's not looked up to because of him killing people. Actually, that takes away from his credibility. So, for example, King David killed a lot of people, and because of that, we know he wasn't able to build a temple. Yeah. And King Solomon, instead of killing people, he just got married to a lot of women in order to establish his connections with
I just read a midrash about
to make alliances instead of killing. He made alliances with marriage, and even that was interesting, but. What I'm saying is that killing people was never like a thing in Judaism, and I think that life quest, the promise for a peaceful future, like the whole story of the Tanakh and the whole story of the Torah is going back to Gan Eden. We start the story off, everything was perfect. We're in this beautiful garden, and the entire Torah just starts off with that story, and it leaves you that bookmark in your head, in your psychic. Let's go back to that wonderful garden. And that's the dream of Judaism, whereas in Christianity you have the end of days, the doom and gloom, we're all going to die, our souls are going to fly out of our bodies, and it's going to be Armageddon and the rat, this and that. So there's just too much action, and the Muslims don't have it any better either. It's just one big mess. So if you want to direct the dream of humanity as a whole, the Sanhedrin will be able to initiate that. Mm-hmm. Ask me more questions about the idea. I'll try to answer about the Sanhedrin initiative and how we can, or what are we offering, or what are we giving. I'll try to explain to you how we can implement it.
Do you?
You don't know enough to ask?
Do you have your 70 guys?
Now,
do they know 70 languages? Can they talk Japanese? What do you?
Okay, what are we talking about? We're talking. So right now, which stage we're holding in is we are creating. We have already groups on WhatsApp. We have a group called the Lion and the Lamb.
Who's in charge of this?
The people that are part of the MN Global. This is it's a semi-secret organization. There are certain things that are still kind of under the table because we're still not powerful enough to go public.
Are you in charge of a fight club somewhere? Or something?
No, we don't do fight clubs. We're an intellectually under the radar organization. We're trying to we're like a punk rock, kind of. Yeah, you got the idea.
You never know what you're stepping into in Cutscreen. These weird people.
Yeah. I don't know. But we have a lot of groups on WhatsApp and on other platforms where we basically are collecting many students. We're basically creating a yeshiva for anyone, for Goyim, for Jews. So that's very appealing to a lot of people, which they want to have the yeshiva experience. They want to learn and study deep about Judaism, but they're not interested in signing up to a yeshiva. They're not ready to grow their beard and get their schlang cut or anything. So we're basically growing the advisory.
I wasn't ready for either. One would just
they just did it. So we're basically creating a network of life coaches, psychologists, people that are into deep thinking in order to create the foundation for how this whole system is going to work. Mm-hmm. And we have people that are, we have black women to Chinese men and everything in between, Arabs, Christians, Jews, atheists, Israeli backpackers, Yuvals, all kinds of people. We have the whole spectrum of people that have been exposed to multiple cultures, and they have an idea of how an international integrated system should work. And right now, we're networking, we're talking to each other, we're working out the details, we're understanding our strengths, our weaknesses. The advisory group is where I say we're doing all the building. We're going to have a ACHIM team, which is very, very diverse. We have Jews that have left Judaism. They claim they're atheists. They married non-Jews, but they love the idea because they're about true Judaism, and they don't like what made them go away from Judaism is when they saw that the Jews are just doing things and they're not actually understanding what they're doing. The mitzvah sanashim milumah, the concept, that's what pushed them away from Judaism. And they're like, you know what, we're going to back the Sanhedrin initiative because they want to see how the Orthodox community approaches this. They're very interested because they say the Orthodox Jews are praying every day, 3 times a day. Are they going to back the real deal? Are they going to back it right now? When we're going to actually put it and we're going to implement it and we're going to do exactly, And this is in line, by the way, everything that we do is in line with what the Rebbe says. It's in line with halacha. There's nothing that.
What are you doing?
What we're doing that's similar to what you know in halacha is promoting Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, which is straight up. The Rambam speaks about it in Hilchos Malachim, and etc. And the Rebbe spoke about it. That's the mission of the times when it comes to the non-Jews. So that's basically the core of the Sanhedrin.
Teaching classes on Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach?
No, because Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach in our scenario is just a gateway to the entire Torah. Because if you, in the details of the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, you can basically get to the Taryag mitzvahs if you go deep and hard enough. It's just another door. It's another entrance. You can live. Yeah.
Judaism, you can go deep and hard.
You can no, yeah, pretty much. You can basically live a quote unquote Jewish life, technically not being a Jew, but completely being Jewish in everything you do. And you just went in through the gate of the 7 laws of Noah, and you were helped to get the deep knowledge through the advisory group or the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin.
So what are they doing? Running classes? What are they doing?
So So there's going to be definitely a huge educational element in this. So we're going to be making a master class, for example, where people can basically buy a couple 100 hours of videos, and by the time they're done watching this huge series, that's going to be meticulously built and detailed.
What are you teaching?
This is what we're saying. We're going to teach the rocks and the foundations of everything that's moral and ethical, and we're not only teaching, but I want to point out one thing, by the way, because there are some people that are going to say, listen, we've searched the Bible and we can connect it to even historical documents that prove that, Kel Shakai and Yudke Vavke and these names and Kel and this. It's all based on mythology from earlier, and when the Jews think that they're praying to God, they're praying to some pagan god that was 300,000 years ago, and they just had this book that was like a copy paste. So what I tell to those people is that the Jews today, we're not going to get into that because it's so. It's such a thin thread at this point to be able to prove it this way or that way. We're kind of far from that, and it's neither here nor there at this point. Obviously I'd be interested to see someone come with like really definitive information that's like undisputable. He's going to tell me about the Anunnaki and I don't know what. But what I'm trying to say is that today's Jews, the end product, 2020, today's Jews and today's Orthodox communities, whether it's Christian or Muslim as well, are trying not to kill, they're trying not to steal. So yeah, it could be that...
They're trying.
Yeah.
What do you mean they're trying? There's riots. What are you talking about?
No, but Orthodox people, whether they're Christian, I'm talking about the true people that are trying to really connect to God, or trying to be good.
The Catholic Church still exists. The Vatican City still exists. It's built on the stolen property of Jews and everyone else there, and they won't give it any back. And Muslims...
but again, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the common folk. I'm talking about the Christian that kind of was brought into it, and they told them in class that, you got to be a good Christian. You got to turn the other cheek.
You're making general statements about people, but I don't know if they're true. I don't know what's out there. I'm in Katrina, in my own bubble, waiting for everything to fall apart. I don't know what's going on.
Right. But for example, the Rambam says that on one hand you have the Christian community went around, killed and stole, and did all the most worst things.
They all do that.
Yeah. But on the other hand, right after that he says, don't forget, I'm not saying that Christianity is good basically, but I'm saying that God has a way of directing people and bringing them to the truth. Now, just like when you build a building, you have the scaffold around it, it's called, and then you tear that away. So,
well, this is what Franz Rosenzweig said in Star of Redemption, that the Christianity is the rays, while Judaism is the sun, or something like that.
Yeah, is that analogy or whatever, whichever language you pick. But the point is that it brings people now. To be honest, Christianity is not good, and it's almost like a bankruptcy lawyer.
It's really funny though.
And if you want to make
the funniest religion.
You want to hear the song of the punk rock song of Christianity? Echte Moshiach, echte Moshiach, echte Moshiach. So, I will sin and I will repent. I will sin and I will repent. You go out there like a cowboy. You pop everyone's heads off. You go rob a bank, and then you go to the priest and you're like, "Can I get my sins forgiven?" He's like, 10% of that bank robbery though. You're like, all right. And what about next week? You're gonna rob another bank because we need another 10% of that. So it's like a bankruptcy lawyer, and you want a flaw of Christianity? A flaw of Christianity. Eichmann asked for priests to come. He converted to Christianity right before they killed him.
Oh yeah.
And you ask a typical Christian today, all those Jews that were killed in the gas chambers that did not accept Jesus right before they died, where'd they go? They went to hell, right? Because they didn't accept Jesus in their heart. Eichmann, which killed all those Jews in the gas chambers, he accepted Jesus 5 minutes before. What's he doing? Well, he's dancing with Jesus in heaven, right? That's a flaw in the system.
I'd rather be in hell.
Yeah, you'd rather be in hell at that point, right? So that's a flaw in the psyche.
You'd rather be in hell, or you'd rather be in heaven with Jesus dancing with Eichmann?
Exactly. Think about it. Would you like to join Hitler and Eichmann?
Go to hell. Forget it.
Just go to hell with the Jews. I mean, you'd rather be in if that's heaven, that's hell, Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that there's enough flaws in Christianity as is, and I'm not here to state the obvious, right? But what I am here to say is that we have to gather the good in everyone, because what Hitler did is he brought out the bad in everyone, and he said, "You're feeling depressed today? Good. Hold that feeling. Now let's go kill some Jews." So what the Rebbe did, and we spoke about this, is the Rebbe also created a motor, an engine, and energy. And he's like, if Hitler brought out all the bad in people, I'm going to bring out all the good in people. I'm going to make an army of little kids with a marching band doing mitzvahs and putting coins in a tzedakah box and screaming psukim and getting ices. And I'm going to make a mitzvah tank. The Rebbe also spoke about all these things. So the Rebbe made an army of good, and again, the worst in the army of good is better than the best of the. If a guy's walking around with a gun, and he might actually help in Hurricane Katrina, but he's walking around with a gun and a tank, so he might move logs out of the way, but it's a killing machine. It puts the whole, as we said earlier with the police, it puts the whole dynamic in the wrong hemisphere. Not everything is about killing everyone. You're going to give a guy a ticket for not wearing a helmet, and you're entangling the whole thing. You're making it complicated. So back to the point. The Sanhedrin initiative is going to try to clarify all that. We're going to take the newest, as you might say, technology. We're going to be able to use instead of going to a courthouse on the other side of town, and you have to come with a bunch of paperwork. We're going to do it on the internet, like everyone knows, on Zoom or on Facebook or on Skype. We're not going to make ourselves all important for no reason, to make you fax crap to us. We're going to do it straight up, and we're going to do it in a way that our main goal is going to be that people are calm and relaxed and chilled. They're not scared to tell you what happened. They don't give a shiest about it. They're not scared to say the truth, and they're ready to hear. And we're going to have people that are going to keep everyone calm during the thing, and professionals that are life coaches, people that get paid for people to tell them. That's the kind of stuff. We're going to give such a high quality of justice. People are going to be like, I walked in and I wanted 10,000 from the guy. I walked out with 20. I don't even know how. And he was also happy somehow. Like, it worked out such
good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck. But Ezrat Hashem, there are obviously going to be those people that are going to troll us, maybe, perhaps.
I'm not going to troll anybody.
No, I'm saying the Sanhedrin system. They're going to try to break it on purpose to make fake news, like CNN would, or discredit it once it becomes a little popular. I'm already foreseeing that, but I don't know if it's going to happen. But I have a once it becomes a problem for the systems, then once we compete with the local systems, if there's anything left of them at the time, I might see we might see have competitive and fake news, but
Oh, my wife had a good observation. So, the last watershed moment in history was really 1914 with Franz Ferdinand, right? The Archduke. They assassinated the Archduke that started World War One. And from World War One, that was like the first act of central banking. And then World War Two came out of World War One. It was really the same war, but so this time, like World War One started with the assassination of like a really important heir to the throne of what was it, Austria?
I think so, yeah, Mashu Kazeh.
But what happened this time? Like, what set it all off? Like, the murder of not Archduke Franz Ferdinand, but like Archduke George Floydinand, and he was just trying to pass a fake 20. I mean, the Fed is doing that
all day.
$1 trillion a month. I mean, give him a break. He's just trying to join in, stimulate the economy.
It could be that he wasn't even his. It's very possible that he got it from a friend.
He probably got it from the Fed, who printed it up out of nothing.
Yeah. I when I go to the store and the guy's checking to see if it's fake, I say all money is fake. Trust me, there's nothing behind it. There's no gold. There's no nothing other than your imagination. There's nothing real about it. Yeah. So, but again, I think that this was just the tip that signaled the world. It's not the message. It's not the black guy. It's the oh, he was killed by a cop. How many times does everyone? I think that almost 90% of humanity can understand being killed by a cop, whether they were giving it a ticket and they felt like that was unjust. When you trust your government to protect you, and then they start to undermine you and exploit you. And I think that many cops, don't get me wrong, because I've spoken to people that are pro cops and they love cops, and they don't, and they've been helped by cops. When they were kids, their parents were about to kill each other, and the cops came in, stopped that from happening, calmed them down. So the brain of a 5-year-old was able to relate to the cop at the time, and he felt actually like maybe the cop was like 5.5, so he, like the brain power. But what I'm saying is that there are people that had good experiences with cops. And not all cops are like this, and once in a while you'll have a video of a cop saying, I'm against all this, I'm against this stuff. And most cops join, and they think at the time that they're joining that they're going to do their community a favor.
I'd say
but before you know
it,
they're involved in this racketeering, this exploiting the people. They're involved in killing and stealing, but sometimes they're doing most of the work. They're not stopping it. Sometimes they're involved in it. And like we have a saying in Judaism, "Tov shebarefim legehenim." The best of the doctors is going straight to hell, because it's just a bloody system. It's a bloody job. As hard as you try to do it right, you're not trying hard enough. I mean, it's just one of those things. And hopefully when Moshiach comes, when Moshiach comes, we're gonna create. You see, this is what I think. A lot of Jews are like, they're very upset with me because I throw a lot of work at their face. It's like, you want Mashiach? Here's the files. Here, get to work. And I just pack it down. Like, I want to make a Sanhedrin. After we have a Sanhedrin, we're going to crown a king. After we crown a king, convince the government to give him enough power to build a temple on the Temple Mount. We're going to convince Saudi Arabia and
power to build a king. Just tell the billionaires to raise some money. We'll build the Beis Hamikdash in a few weeks. It's not going to take that long.
Right. So I mean, first of all, the Sanhedrin needs to be established in order to.
Sheldon Adelson can.
But we could do this the halachic way. This is what I'm saying. The halachic way. You want to make God satisfied. You want to, I don't know, if just in case he exists, just forget, just in case. So the halachic way, it's not that hard. You can satisfy everyone. It's not a big deal. You establish a Sanhedrin. That's the first step. Then the Sanhedrin has the right to establish a king. The king has the halachic right. This is all according to Judaism, according to the law, to command the temple being built. Then you get Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Turkey to go on an auction. Who gets to buy the Dome of the Rock? The highest bidder takes the Dome of the Rock, takes it to their country, and leaves it there for the Muslims to go tourist over there. And then we have room to build a Beis Hamikdash, and we also have a little bit of money from the auction, right?
We can keep it. Why can't we just keep it there? It's nice and tiny.
I mean, but we need that space. I think it's like, isn't it on the place where the Kodesh HaKodashim is?
Yeah, it's to protect it. I don't know if we can.
So if you know what, the Sanhedrin will decide if the Beis Hamikdash needs to be exactly where the Dome of the Rock is, or if we can build it somewhere else. If they decide that that place of the Beis Hamikdash is on the Dome of the Rock, we auction it off. With today's technology, it shouldn't be a big deal to carefully disassemble it and reassemble it in another country. I think that would be great. I think the Muslims would be like, okay, finally we're out of your hair. we're out of your shiest. Now we can live in peace. That will be the best solution. I don't know why Trump doesn't have this auction idea in the new peace or new world. And then we build a Beis Hamikdash. It brings in tourism from all over the world. The atheists and the Zionists are happy.
I'm not afraid of the political nightmare that rebuilding the Beis Hamikdash is going to bring.
What's the political nightmare?
Who gets to determine how it's operated? Who's in charge?
Well, that's why we have the Sanhedrin, and that's why we have enough time from that time till now, till the Beis Hamikdash is built.
Every Hasidic sect is going to say, "Oh no, my Rebbe says the Kohen Gadol wears this on the right side and on the left side." Everybody's going to be arguing about everything.
So then you better get your Rebbe into the Sanhedrin right now, because this is where it's all getting locked and loaded, Habibis. So donations here. You want to start the world peace? It's all it's all going down, ladies. You want to be part of it all? You want to support Israel? Don't support the Zionist government. You got to go deeper. You got to support the Orthodox Jewish Sanhedrin initiative, ladies. This is where it's at. This is where it all begins, and this is where it's all going to go down. And if there's Satmar and Ger, they better start learning Gemara, because there's going to be a lot of people that want to be part of the Sanhedrin. They're going to be competing who is sharper. And if you have a Rebbe that only knows how to eat kugel and throw apples, I don't think he's going to be able to compete with some of the other Talmidei Chachamim that are going to come into the shift, because we're going to need the top of the best in the world, right? So this Rebbe stuff might help, but your Rebbe better be of top quality. This is what it is. So you have to be, and the advisory group is going to be huge. It's going to be the ones who are going to tell the Sanhedrin what the world needs, and they're also going to be telling the world what the Sanhedrin said. So they're going to be the middlemen of making sure that everything is in sync. As I said, they're going to be the capitalism that's going to make everything, work.
And you'll see, once we succeed in this project, we're going to die, we're going to go to...
One more time, say that again. Or not.
You see, when we succeed with Sanhedrin, we're all gonna die and go to heaven, and we're gonna see Jesus dancing with ACHIM, and we're gonna just join in and
Imagine Moshiach is revealed, and then some alien Anunnaki.
You gotta make a shirt now of Jesus dancing with ACHIM in heaven.
Oh, that's it. It's there, huh?
Yeah.
Let me give you another image. The Sanhedrin, as part of the initiative, we get a huge cruise, right? One of those huge cruise liners, and we invite Trump and Xi Jinping and Putin.
You can probably get one for really cheap now because
yeah. And so if there's any cruise liner companies that would like to sign some kind of a contract with us, and we can convert one of their boats into the first Sanhedrin floating island, where we can invite world leaders.
I'm not part of this.
No. I'm just giving you guys the image, right? So we have the left wing is the Russians, the right wing is Trump, and smack in the middle on the whole fourth floor is all the Chinese, the entire entourage, the whole spiel, and then the Sanhedrin is in the basement in the huge conference, the Congress and the Knesset, all they have these round rooms, the UN. It's all that round room business. It's all based on us. This is the real deal. We're gonna have one of those.
You mean the lishkos on the Harabayas are round?
No, the reason why the Sanhedrin would sit in a circle is so that they're all equally close to each other, and they're all equal, and that's a symbol of unity.
Okay.
Now this is all deep stuff, and it's all part of the Jewish system.
I gotta go.
All right, so basically we're gonna have all these world leaders, and look how delicate we're going to be able to help them. For example, Trump. The only thing an American needs to appreciate is privacy, because in America everything is out there. If Trump goes into the bathroom, and he closes the door, the Secret Service are we have a problem, and I mean Trump might be in trouble. I haven't seen his, whatever. So we're gonna and CNN and all the media are always running after the president. The guy doesn't have a minute to breathe. So when he comes to the Sanhedrin's boat, we're gonna actually relieve him of that stress. We're gonna give him time to focus on how to help his country. Whereas on the other hand, we have people like the Chinese, which their nature is secrecy and all being tight. So we're going to tell Xi Jinping, you got to teach your people to loosen up a little. Why don't you hold a martini while standing at the edge of the boat, with the waves in the back, smiling. Loosen up a little bit and be an example to your people that you shouldn't be so tight and uptight about life. And like that, the Sanhedrin is not only gonna, and let's say if morality is an issue in the United States, we're gonna have Trump do a photo op, and he's gonna do his conference on the boat, sitting around right before they're eating a dinner, and his wife and his children are sitting around him. So that gives the image to the American people, like, family values are important. Stop jumping around from girl to girl. Settle down, build your family, be constructive.
The whole idea of jumping around from girl to girl sounds so exhausting. It just makes
definitely. So we're gonna try to influence people. We're gonna teach the leaders how to most impact their people for good, based on the moral code, and we're gonna do it in such smart and subtle ways that it's not even going to cost any money. It's just going to be like, boom, wow, look what an influence you did. This is just an example of the Sanhedrin initiative. Obviously, this cruise is going to have other boats that are going to want to join us. We're going to go from country to country.
We're going to have a caravan.
Yeah, this is going to be, and we're not going to be
by Trump.
The law on the Sanhedrin cruise is going to be the law of the Sanhedrin, and it's going to be a place where many world leaders can also escape their corruption and the deep state in their countries, in order to come.
Yeah, they can all party on our cruise.
Yeah, they can party, or they can learn how to fight the New World Order.
Very realistic. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Gotta go.
Now that we have the imagery, because the imagery is very important. Trump got that image of the wall, right? We have the image of the cruise now stuck in your mind. Support the Sanhedrin. Let us know what you think. MN Global, MoshiachNewsGlobal.org. And Rafi is the best.
Good luck.